Oh, I have butterflies. Assalamu alaikum, my loves. I literally have butterflies right now filming this video. It is 3 a.m. I have no idea why I'm filming this late. SubhanAllah, I really just wanted to get this video out to you guys as soon as possible. So we set up my lights, we set my camera up. We are reviving my YouTube channel. I recently started wearing the hijab. It's actually been 4 months now, and I want to speak to you guys about my experience. I posted on my Instagram and I had you guys just ask me any questions that you have. We're gonna go through the questions today, inshallah. I think let's just get right into it because there are a lot of questions. So I think the first question that I should answer is, what exactly is the hijab? You see girls wearing this piece of cloth on our head. As Muslim women, this is a big part of our identity. It is fard, it is mandatory in our religion to wear the hijab. I only started wearing it 4 months ago, which goes to say that everyone kind of has their own journey with the hijab. The hijab is not only a symbol of modesty, but it's also a commitment that as Muslim women we make to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that we are his servants and that we want to do what is pleasing to him. It's not just a piece of cloth on our head, it's also a form of modesty. It's the way we act, it's the way we interact with other people. It's a big responsibility. Wearing the hijab as Muslim women, we take on a responsibility. In literary terms, the hijab is Arabic and it stands for veil, covering, barrier, and it does protect us. That's a little breakdown of what the hijab is. Let's just get into some of the questions. The first question that I want to touch on is, what motivated you to put the hijab on and get closer to your deen? For me personally, starting to wear the hijab wasn't like an overnight decision. I had been thinking about it for almost a year prior to wearing the hijab, and it was a very slow transition that influenced me to wear the hijab. So I kind of started by getting more involved in the Muslim community at my university and surrounding myself with different people, many of them who were hijabis themselves, and I would talk to them about wearing the hijab. My mom is also a hijabi, so I grew up being very inspired by her, and I think that surrounding myself with those people, putting myself in that kind of environment, that really influenced me and made me want to consider it and actually want to put the hijab on and really find the beauty and the purpose behind the hijab. I started wearing it January 1st. No, technically it was right at like before New Year's Day, so it was December 31st technically. That day I was not planning on wearing it actually, but I wanted to start reflecting kind of on the next year, see what are some things that I'm aspiring for next year. First things I was looking at on Pinterest was like Islamic quotes, Muslim quotes, and a couple of the ones that were coming up were speaking about how there's never this real right timing for the hijab. There's never this like you're going to feel fully ready for the hijab. SubhanAllah, I felt like, what am I going to regret? To me there was nothing. I knew that whatever hardship was going to come from wearing the hijab, from giving something up for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and doing it for his sake, I knew that whatever was going to come, I was going to be able to handle it. For me it was more like, you know what, there's never going to be that right time, and this is a step that I want to take for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I'd rather do it now than later. We truly do not know how many days we have left in this dunya, and for me truly wearing the hijab was about wanting to decentralize myself from my looks and focus more on working on my inner self and sharing that with people. And I started wearing it, and alhamdulillah, I've been wearing it for 4 months now, and it's been a beautiful journey, and every single day I'm growing more connected to it. And I will say also, this is something I think that we should all as Muslims just recognize. A Muslim woman who wears hijab one day versus the day before she wasn't wearing it is that same woman. She hasn't changed, okay? She is just doing one more thing to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the only difference. You don't want to decredit, first of all, the women who aren't wearing the hijab, because they could still be praying every single day. They could have a very strong connection, Allahu A'lam, we don't know, with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we are literally no one to be judging or assuming something based off whether someone's wearing a hijab or not. This fly is gonna drive me crazy. I can't do this. These two questions are about undercaps and about styles of hijabs. First of all, in the beginning of wearing the hijab, I struggled with the undercap. I could not keep it from slipping. There was a couple things that I did that kind of helped. I still struggle with it now. First of all, buying cotton that is a little bit like more rough of undercaps helps so it doesn't slip as much. I started putting a little bit of gel as well on my hair. I started bobby pinning my undercap into my hair. Like, I've tried so many things. And also just make sure your undercap is not too tight, because sometimes being too tight is what can actually make it slip. So those are just some tips. And then in terms of styles, I'm still trying to learn new styles, to be honest. Like, I just kind of have 2 or 3 styles that I wear on a daily basis. I have them on my Instagram if you want to go see tutorials for them. And I've also recently discovered a new style that I really like for the gym. I have a very round face, as we can see. So I definitely had to experiment with some styles to see what I liked and didn't like. That's kind of what I'm sticking to for now. How do I feel? To be honest with you, I genuinely feel like I've had a huge shift ever since I started wearing the hijab. Not purely just because of the purpose of the hijab. I became closer to the masjid. I became closer with friends who I love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I feel like a lot of beautiful things came ever since I started wearing the hijabs. Alhamdulillah. Okay, someone's asking about hair loss. Girls, this is a struggle. This is a big struggle. Your hairline, you have to actually be very careful because all the rumors are true. You can actually start to see your hairline receding a little bit. So what do you do about your hairline? I recommend oiling. I love to oil my hair, and I massage in my hairline just to help with any hair loss. I will have the names of the oils that I use right here, but I know rosemary oil is incredible for hair growth. Wear undercaps that are not too tight. Don't pull your hair back or part it in the same way every single time, and use the relatively softer, not too soft so it doesn't slip, but softer undercap. This question is kind of a serious one, which is, did you think that the hijab is going to make you lose opportunities? I definitely think that every Muslim woman who wears the hijab is going to experience some form of discrimination. That is very unfortunate to say, but it's also a reality that we face, living in the West, especially me living in Canada. Fortunately, I have not experienced anything in the last 4 months. Again, you're giving something up for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those things at the end of the day are things within the dunya. And dealing with those hardships are hardships that, when faced, I'm going to be faced with proudly, to be honest, because I am proud of wearing the hijab and I am proud of my identity. And if those kind of hurdles come in my way, so be it, and I will handle it at that time. In terms of if it's something within professional work or my university or something like that, there are a lot of supports that can help you. Within your university, within for example the Muslim Student Association, if you're in university, so that if you do experience some form of discrimination, you do have resources and people to go to. Again, if people are not giving you an opportunity because you are choosing to cover up, those are not the kind of people I would want to be working with, and those are not the kind of people I would want to be surrounding myself with. But yeah, that's kind of how I would think of it, I guess. The next question is, how do you not compare yourself with hijab and without? I think the best thing is just to not look at old photos, but at the same time, I just think remembering the reason that you're doing it, we have to realize that we have many social constructs that are imposed upon us, and wearing the hijab, I believe, for me, broke those, because I reminded myself of who my creator is and what my bigger purpose is. And knowing these two things makes you lose that kind of self infatuation and that desire to want to please other people. And just understanding that this small sacrifice, tiny sacrifice, for what we're going to be rewarded with, inshallah, in the afterlife is nothing. So the next question is, what has been the hardest thing wearing the hijab? Like I said, it's only been 4 months, but I think for me personally, the hardest thing was the gym, just because I really love the gym. It's a habit of mine, and before I wore the hijab, I was going to the gym like 5 or 6 times a week minimum working out. So I think the transition of wearing the hijab in the gym was probably the most difficult thing for me. And to be honest, the solution for me to feel more comfortable while wearing the hijab was to go to a women's only gym. I feel a lot more comfortable working out there. For a while, I even stopped going to the gym because I was trying to figure out how to become comfortable there. Suggest some like hijab colors that go with every outfit. So when I started wearing the hijab, I actually kind of went crazy, not gonna lie. I went and bought so many different colors. Because I'm someone who really loves fashion, I wanted colors that was going to match with every outfit. It was pretty excessive. I think you should find colors that match with your skin color. I love green because it also matches my eyes. I love brown tones. I know a lot of people prefer to stick with black hijabs. I personally love colors. I think the only color that I haven't worn is probably orange and red and yellow. I think those are 3 colors that I'm just like afraid of. Honestly, I would say experiment with colors, get solid neutrals and some colors that would really complement your skin tone. People were asking about which material of hijabs that I really like. So this material is actually very interesting. It's kind of like a mix between jersey and like a gym material. The material that I wear the most is definitely chiffon and jersey. And model, I have a couple of models, but I don't wear that many just because they wrinkle so fast. I don't think I could be ironing them out every single day. Mostly I wear chiffon and jersey. How do you tie your hair? I just put it up in a bun. So what I do is I get a scrunchie, I tie it around like 2 or 3 times, not just so it's not too tight. And before I tie it the last time, I only put half my hair through so that you have like a little bun, kind of. Next question. Are people treating me differently? I definitely became friends with a lot more Muslim women who wear the hijab after I started wearing the hijab as well. It is the most beautiful community. They are so welcoming, and I definitely recommend that if you're thinking of wearing the hijab or you already do, find yourself a good Muslim woman community who also wear the hijab, just because it makes you feel a little bit less alone and lets you have girls and kind of build relationship on Islam. Now this question I really resonate with. How does it feel to wear a hijab at the gym, and does it annoy you sometimes? Like I said, I started going to a women's only gym. The only time I'm wearing the hijab right now is when I'm filming for you guys at the gym. I think it's the way you style it, and I think it's the material that you choose. So for example, this material in the gym is amazing. I don't feel uncomfortable. It doesn't feel like overly like suffocating, and I also think that you should style it in a way that doesn't really like get in your way. The style that I recently started doing, it kind of goes in the back, it doesn't come in the front, so it helps me when I'm working out to not have the hijab just like dangling here, I guess. Especially in the beginning, I will say I struggled with wearing the hijab in the gym just because I wasn't used to it. It was something new that I was learning, and I was hyper conscious of all the movements that I would do at the gym as well, just in terms of modesty, and I didn't feel as comfortable working out in a mixed environment, which, like I said, again, that's why I started working out in a women's only. Do you not have doubts about keeping it on? Inshallah, I never take it off. As of now, I have no intention of ever taking it off, and I personally don't actually have thoughts about taking it off or doubts. Alhamdulillah, I think every day I'm strengthening myself in my deen, that it's making me love the hijab more. But women who are thinking about taking it off, I think my advice to you would be to reaffirm yourself with the purpose of why you're wearing it. Who are you doing it for? It's for our creator, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's to please our creator. And remember that any desires that you have to want to take it off, or any of these impulses, are worldly impulses, or it's from shaitan's whispers telling you that you shouldn't wear it. And surround yourself with the people who are going to support you in wearing it, because your community really does matter. Honestly, my perspective is that any hardship that we encounter with the hijab, alhamdulillah, that Allah has put us through this test and allowed us to struggle with the hijab so that we can be rewarded more for it. Next is how to adjust your summer outfits. I think I'm going to be making a lot of outfit videos for the summer. A tip that I saw recently that I think I'm definitely going to follow, just not to buy any clothes that you're going to have to halalify. Like for example, t-shirts that you're going to have to wear a long sleeve under. I'd rather just buy a long sleeve. Unless you absolutely have to, like for example, dresses can be really hard to find ones that are fully covered. And that kind of goes along with like buying lightweight clothes, buying very airy materials that helps in the summer just so you don't get too hot. Definitely I'll be making a lot more videos on summer clothes. I feel like I'm ready, but I'm not sure. How do you know if you're ready? Like I mentioned earlier, me personally, I don't think that there is a time where you're ever going to feel quote unquote ready. Obviously on the day when I wanted to wear the hijab, I had doubts as well. I had doubts in my head telling me, but like maybe the start of Ramadan, not the start of the year. And I just had to push those thoughts away and just reaffirm myself, no, this is something I'm doing, something I want to do, I know the reason that I'm doing it, and just do it. And I recommend just like sharing it with as many people as you can right in the beginning. Once I wore the hijab, I literally shared it with everyone on my Instagram because there's no going back after that. So I recommend just once you start wearing it, share it with all your friends. Tell your friends that you started wearing it. Like hold each other accountable with it, you know? Okay, this question is asking, is the hijab mandatory in Islam? I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. Yes, it is mandatory in Islam. As Muslim women, we are ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to wear the hijab. But again, everyone has their own journey. Everyone has a different upbringing, everyone has a different path to wearing the hijab as well as journey wearing the hijab. And I think as Muslim women in the community, we need to be supportive of each other, we need to take care of each other, and we need to be there for each other. Now, this beautiful question, I want to wear the hijab, what is the necessary things to buy? Let's talk the top essentials for the hijab. Number one, of course, you're going to be buying the hijabs. I recommend chiffon, jersey, modal. Those are kind of the three most popular materials. Then you're going to need some pins. I usually just put like 2 or 3 pins in my hijab just to make sure it's secure in place and doesn't like fly away. Undercaps, I prefer to wear them. I know some people don't wear undercaps like my mom. I prefer to wear them. Just hold your hair kind of in place, gives a clean line under your hijab and covers all your hair. I buy the most basic colors in the beginning and then you can expand on the colors that you have later. Magnets, I really like using magnets as well to secure my hijab. Safety pins as well, those are really good to secure your hijab onto your clothes as well. I think that's it. I personally don't like hijab tape. I tried it out. I don't recommend it personally. That's basically it, right? A question is asking me, what age should girls start wearing hijab? Like what age would you recommend? This is not up to me, this is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are told to wear it when we reach puberty, but people have their different journeys. Again, it's a big part of how you are brought up. So for me, inshallah, if I have a daughter one day, I really want to make sure she's brought up ever since she's really young to love the hijab and to want to wear it. just like her mom. This question is beautiful. I still maintain modesty while not wearing the hijab. So what is the difference? Okay, this is kind of what I spoke about earlier, which is a woman who wears the hijab versus a woman who doesn't. The only difference is the hijab. It does not objectively dictate anything about her character, about her beliefs, about her iman. So if you're a woman who does not wear the hijab but still dresses modestly, that is something still beautiful. You are still doing things that please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the only difference is taking that next step to wear the hijab. It's mandatory to also cover our hair, but we also should never push women away from Islam because they are not wearing the hijab. For us as Muslims, we have no right to judge, we have no right to assume things about other people, and Muslims nowadays are so hard to criticize and to try to tell Muslim women, even new Muslim reverts, to wear the hijab and to start following everything that is in Islam. Yani, someone just came into the religion, let them take it step by step. You know how hard it is to learn a whole new religion, learn how to pray, learn how to read Quran. It's not easy to do that as Muslims, especially people who are just coming to our religion. We need to be kind-hearted with people who are making effort and steps towards Islam. So if you're asking the difference between someone who wears hijab and someone who dresses modestly and does not, the only difference is the hijab. To talk about going to the gym with hijab, I get uncomfortable and I feel like I can't go to the gym because I feel like everyone is staring. So my advice is that if you feel uncomfortable in the gym and you're wearing the hijab and you're dressing modestly, I suggest looking first of all for a women's only gym. If that's not an option that's anywhere near you, second option I would recommend is even buying some home equipment and putting it in your house. Some basic equipment that you can set up in your basement or in your literally garage, wherever you like. And if that's too expensive or not plausible, the third thing I would recommend is just finding a corner within the gym and going somewhere where you're kind of secluded and bring the weights and everything there and just work out in that corner. You can still do a lot of exercises from free weights. So I don't think it should push you away from working out and taking care of your body, but you can definitely find some alternatives that will make you feel more comfortable. How were you able to transition into modest clothing at university? I started dressing more modestly in general, not just the hijab, probably like a year and a half ago. The biggest transition I made was stopping wearing leggings at the gym and I started wearing sweatpants. That alone was a game changer. I felt more comfortable taking that outside the gym and start like wearing looser jeans and start wearing longer shirts. So I think just slowly start to buy pieces that are more modest and incorporate them into your wardrobe. And for the last kind of comment, not question, Jarbi al-hijab loan ahmar. I don't know if I'm ready for this. I've almost bought in a red hijab, but I couldn't do it. I literally could not do it. I just think it's too bold for me right now. Almina lafat al-hijab. Inshallah, I will be doing more tutorials on my Instagram to show you guys kind of different hijab styles. Okay, that is almost all the questions, and inshallah this video benefited you guys somehow. If there's anything you girls want to ask, my DMs are literally open for you on my Instagram. I'm gonna have my Instagram right here if you want to go follow it. Alhamdulillah, it has been 4 months, and inshallah many more years to come. And I pray and make dua for you guys. For anyone thinking wearing the hijab, may Allah make it easy for you. Okay, assalamu alaikum, bye guys. I haven't said this in so long, but you can subscribe. This is so weird. Please subscribe, comment, and like, and inshallah I'll be able to see you guys in future videos. Bye my loves.